want a man to lead you, you better be ready to listen. Being a man to lead and you don't listen is wild. And to recognize how nice it is to have a man that takes care of everything, a man that leads, takes control, and has the house in order. You don't even have to use your brain. You can just turn your brain off and then you can close your eyes and follow him blindly. And you trust and know that wherever he leads you, you'll be happy. And who is masculine, a manly man, a guy who takes charge.
Toxic masculinity. You know, whenever I hear that term, I just think that's a man I want to know. You know, if a feminist is calling someone a toxic male, if I was born as a man, living in today's modern world, I would not be providing or protecting the ragamuffins that are out here.
I'm not trying to be equal to men.
When I think of patriarchy, I think of the roles that we all have to play in society, right? Mm-hmm. Men built a lot of civilization. That's just the truth. Yeah, men are strong, men are providers, men are protectors. And so men have built society throughout history, and we've all benefited from that.
The reason why we have women doing what we're doing in the workplace or doing what we're doing in this world is because we're following that of men. To say that the patriarchy doesn't benefit women, I'm just confused by that.
I don't subscribe to feminism, so I'm okay with just like a role.
Like you do your role, you're being traditional women.
In today's time, I consider myself a very modern woman, but I love stepping into my feminine role where I can let my husband lead, you know, and let him be the provider and everything, right? We've just got such an upside down world right now where, especially for the young generation, there is just no distinction.
There's confusion. They don't know what he says, because I want to be in my feminine energy. I want to be soft, I want to be sensitive, I want to be a woman and stay in my role as a woman.
Women are not meant to work 9-to-5 jobs. Women are meant to go to Pilates class, tan by a pool, read a good book, take care of the children, make good food, and be provided for by a man.
We are supposed to submit to our husband, honor our husband, respect our husband, allow him to lead. We have somebody who is over us, somebody who has authority over us. That is our husband. And so because of that, we have to submit to his leadership.
I used to believe women were beautiful, but not anymore, because I'm here on social media. I see what's happening on the streets. I see what's happening to men when they try to be chivalrous and kind. Sometimes it's appreciated, oftentimes it's not. So a man has to ask himself in that moment, which risk does he want to take? Will this be a good outcome, or will this be a negative outcome?
Talk about ways that you can just practically serve your husband. And point number 4 is to iron his shirts, fold his socks, and do the laundry. We are called to be helpmeets as women. As clear as day, one of the most practical ways that we can help our husbands are through simple acts of service, like doing the laundry, ironing his clothes, cooking dinner, different things like that.
I'm saying this to help you understand it. Women, we're emotions first, we're logic second. We don't think about consequences. We don't think about anyone else. We just process everything through us.
We want a man who acts like a man, you know, a manly man who takes care of things and is a leader. We need to feel so feminine around you because you're so masculine that we can just shut off our brains when we're around you. We trust that you got it. We trust that when we close our eyes, we can follow you blindly. And we're going to be happy about where we end up.
What I always say to people who kind of suggest that the East is oppressed and stuff, I said, but measured life satisfaction, who's happier? The girl that's got an OnlyFans or doing porn, or the woman who's living in Kashmir, where I'm from, with her kids and family and has a purpose? And there's nothing more beautiful than that. And you're telling me my culture is oppressive when I find your culture humiliating. And so that's where my kind of anti-feminism came from.
Has ever stopped to consider that some of us did not want to leave the kitchen? Like, I would make all the sandwiches and grab all the beers if it meant I could stay home. I'd be content with that. Stay out of my kitchen and I will stay out of the workplace. I'd be okay with that. I don't want equality. I want them to come home after a hard day. They see me, they kiss me, and all their stress just melts away. Dinner ready on the table when he comes home. Enjoys every last bite. Tells me how much he loves me. That's what I want. I don't want equality. You can have the workplace. Leave it to the men. I'll stay in the kitchen.
I'm anti-feminist.
I'm anti-feminist. I'm anti-feminist.
I'm anti-feminist.
I don't believe in feminism. I think that if men are willing to do more and do more, then they should make more. That's the first argument. Everybody's like, men shouldn't make more money than women. I don't want to be a carpenter. We're taking it too far. We're taking it too far. I think that there are certain positions in society that are comfortable for a woman. And when you start pushing the men out of the other positions, then the women have to step into the ones that are uncomfortable for women. And I'm not willing to do that.
If you take away the patriarchy, what does feminism have? Nothing. Women would be in danger without the patriarchy. Patriarchy is what keeps us safe.
I'm a patriarchist. I believe in patriarchy. I think that you shouldn't have rights unless you're willing to take on the responsibility that comes with it. That's my opinion. And I think until women take on the responsibility of men, that really, why is it fair that we have the same rights?
I'm not a feminist. I'm not a feminist. I'm not a feminist.
That we should all be submitting to our husbands. If you're married to a good man, like a good man who takes care of you and loves you, then you submit to him. Say, yes, sir. Our husbands don't need us nagging them. They don't need us controlling the home. They need us submitting to them.
You can't do anything a man can do. And furthermore, and more importantly, you don't want to. The most dangerous occupations are still held by men, not women. So I don't believe women when they say they want equality. They don't want equality. They want privilege. There were more women who were active members of anti-suffrage groups than there were women who were in suffrage groups. And a group in Kansas put out a pamphlet that's in my book where they said, we don't want to do this because they could foresee they may have to be conscripted into the military. They could see that it was going to, I know you are, and that we would have to, except you wouldn't.
Literally, the men fund our leagues and we will still whine that we don't get paid enough. And honestly, when athletes do shit like this, it makes all of us look bad. Because instead of being thankful for the league that we have, we go out and whine and complain about the pay.
I must be pretty weak-willed because all it took was falling in love with a man, and now I'm like, not really. I mean, I'm a feminist, but like, kind of. I don't really need my maiden name. I don't really need it. I like your last name better anyway. I know he can do his own laundry. I know that he can clean the house, but I want to do it for him. I want to cook all his meals. I want to make sure he's getting all his whole grains, all his vegetables. I want to make sure he's getting all that protein. He has not asked any of this of me. It just kind of naturally kicks in. Like, these instincts just kind of come out. I think I got possessed by a housewife.
Whenever I'm stuck and I can't figure my way out of a particular maze, I defer to men. They generally come with logical advice, sometimes a bit painful, but tough love is needed sometimes. That's the stuff I needed to hear. And even though some of it was harsh, I needed to hear it. And it's good for me to hear it. It's healthy. That's why whenever I get stuck on something, I'm just walking around in circles, I'll ask men. Either they'll be really tough with me, which is what I might need, or they'll just state the facts logically. That's exactly what I need. I like healing a lot of things with humor and logic, which I may not have all the time because I'm a woman. I get in my feelings. But as this dude said right here about getting out of my feelings, and one dude even told me to shut up and sit down. Guess what I did? I shut up and sat down. All right?
Because we just talk in circles and like yap a bit more, where men are a lot more direct.
Yeah,
we really do think that women as a whole aren't the smartest.
I say things like women are dumber than men.
And you stand by that?
Oh yeah.
So, okay. So women
I just look at the top women and the top men. It's like Kim Kardashian or Elon Musk.
Right.
Like, what conclusion am I supposed to come to when literally all the female billionaires like tend to be billionaires through sex work?
Or through divorce.
Exactly.
Are you smart or are you dumb?
I don't need to be smart and pretty.
Women getting the right to vote has led to every form of degeneracy. And really, again, guys, I believe in a natural order of the world. I believe it goes God, men, women, children. Just because you don't think children shouldn't have certain rights doesn't mean you hate children. Just because you believe that women shouldn't have certain rights, it does not mean you hate or dislike women. Women and men are good at different things. We are meant to do different roles. Shut up. Like, That's my thing. Let the men demand what they want.
What do you think on feminism?
I don't support feminism.
Why not?
Because I think for a woman it's very important to be with a man. I was born and raised in a country where women love men and we respect them and we want to make their life happier, easier, and we love that, you know, like we love this feeling to make our men happy.
I play basketball, volleyball. I did it for 16 years. Okay? I understand why we make less, and I'm very grateful for men for subsidizing women's leagues and allowing me to play as long as I did.
When the women became independent is when the family structures collapsed. They collapsed to the point where now women are waking up and saying, you know what? I want a home again. Because not only are women independent asking for a divorce, but we also have culture shock. A lot of our women are extremely spoiled. Yes, I said it. A lot of our women are extremely spoiled. And the men cannot keep up. What is happening with our women?
Your masculinity isn't toxic. Your masculinity is actually the sexiest thing about you. And all of those women talking about the dangers of masculinity are the same women that are going to be 40 alone with a cat. So do me a favor, stop listening to them, embrace your masculinity, and remember, it's 2023. If I wanted a beta, I could just go date a chick.
Women actually could do things if they wanted, even without the right to vote. And the funny thing is, there was a far bigger anti-suffrage movement than a suffrage movement. There were hundreds of thousands of women, I imagine them like myself, that just came forward and signed petitions saying no, women should not have the right to vote because evil women get into power and think they are equal to men when they are not, and they will try to break down the family.
Today's society has cultivated a culture of women not seeking the approval of their husbands. And my assumption is because they can seek the approval of millions of men on the internet.
Russian women don't need feminism, they don't like it, and feminist movement will never spread in Russia.
Feminist today.
I am not a feminist. I am not a feminist at all. But I will say a man should fucking pay on a first date and all the rest of the day. But it's a man's job.
Instead of going more towards patriarchy, is more egalitarian models. So more fair and more equal. But a lot of times when women are in the man's position and have to take on the responsibilities of the men, they don't like it.
You know, some people take that offensively, and I mean it. So yeah, you can be mad. So yeah, you can be mad.